Hello and welcome to CSAP tutorials for beginners. I am Ajit Srivastav and this is part 3 where we'll be discussing about data types and variable in CSAP. If you haven't gone through part 1 and part 2, I would strongly recommend to do so. In part 1 I have discussed about how you can get Visual in Studio for free, and in part 2 I have discussed about how to write a sample Hello World program. So let's start with this. So the question comes is, what is data type? As the name itself suggests, is different types of data, right? So in CSAP we can basically categorize any data types in two categories. One is value type and another one is reference type. So a value type means what it does is it will try to store the value of the data directly into the variable, but in reference type that is not the case. So what it will do is it will store the data into a memory location, and that memory location reference or pointer will be stored in reference type variable. So the difference is simple. Value type will directly contains the data, whereas reference type variable will contains the memory location or a memory reference of the data where actual data is being stored. Okay, so value type we can categorize in multiple types. One is simple types, we can say. Another one is enum, struct, null-level values, tuple values. In this video session I'll try to complete simple types, and rest will try to cover as part of 4 and 5. So what is so you can see in simple types again we can categorize into 5 different categories. One is signed integral, second one is unsigned, character, floating point, boolean. So what is signed integral? So signed integral are those types in which we can store integer value, whether it is a positive number or negative number. We can store these is in a signed integral variable. Okay, so again these signed integral variables are categorized into 4 different categories. We have different 4 types to store positive or negative number into a variable. Those are sbyte, short, int, long. So as I mentioned, like we can store any positive or negative number within a signed integral variable. Then why these 4 different types? So basically these 4 different types are there to accommodate a certain range of number. Okay, so s byte will consist of small range of number. Short will be you can store a larger number into the short variable or short type variable. Similarly for integer and long. Next question arises, what could be the range of each? So okay, so before going to that, let's try to understand how the memory allocation will be for these type of variables. So whenever you declare any variable of type s byte, right, C# will allocate 1 byte of memory to this particular variable. 1 byte means 8 bit. So here you can see for s byte 1 byte of memory will be allocated, that is 8 bit, right? So within one byte the range of numbers that we can store into a s byte type variable is -128 to +127. Similarly, whenever you declare a variable of type short, it will allocate you 2 byte of memory, that is 16 bit, which is 2 to power minus 2 to power 16 to minus 2 to power 15 to positive 2 to power 15. So the rule is simple. If it is 8 bit, its range will be -2 to power 7 to +2 to power 7. If it is short, which is 16 bit, that means its range will be -2 to power 15 to +2 to the power 15. So remembering this number will be really tough. What you have to remember is s byte will be allocated 1 byte. 1 byte means 8 bit. 8 bit means it will store 8 minus 1, that is minus 2 to power 7, 2 plus 2 to power 7. Similarly, sort will be allocated 2 bytes, that is 16 bit, 16 minus 1, that is 15. So the range of sort type variable will be 2 to power 15, 2 plus 2 to power 15. Similarly, int will be allocated 4 bytes, which is altogether 4 into 8, that is 32 bit. So the range of value that it can accommodate is 32 minus 1, that is minus of 2 to power 31, 2 plus 2 to power 31. Long will be allocated in 8 bytes of memory, which is 64 bit. So 64 minus 1, that is 63. So the range will be minus of 2 to power 63, 2 plus of 2 to power 63. Same thing. So basically now another type is unsigned integral. So the main difference between signed integral and unsigned integral is signed integral types will allow you to store negative number as well as positive number within this range, whatever just now I discussed. But for unsigned integrals, it will only allow you to store positive number. So it is clear, right? The difference between signed integral and unsigned integral is signed will allow you to store negative as well as positive number. Unsigned integral will allow you to store only positive number. So different type that lies within unsigned integral are byte, usort, U stand for unsigned. So unsigned sort, unsigned int and unsigned long. Now again you can simply see byte will be allocated 1 byte, which is 8 bit. So the rule of thumb to remember this is 0 to 2 to power 8 minus 1. So here we are subtracting in 8 itself, but here you have to subtract in 2 to power 8. So 2 to power 8 is 256. So you will subtract 1 within this. So range will be 0 to 255. Similarly, unsigned sort 2 byte, which is 16 bit. So range will be 0 to 2 to power 16 minus 1. So 2 to power 16 is 65,536 minus 1, which is 65,535. Okay. Why we are subtracting this 1 in everything? Because if we'll see 2 to power 8 is 256, but we want to store 0 as well, right? Due to that, in all these unsigned integral we are subtracting 1 because we want to store the value as 0. That is the reason we are subtracting 1 from each of the values. So similarly, for unsigned int, it will be allocating 4 bytes, which is 32 bit. So the range will be 0 to 2 to power 32 minus 1. Same rules applicable for unsigned long, 8 byte, 64 bit. So range will be 0 to 2 to power 64 minus 1. So let's start with a program like how we can declare these variable and how we can use. So this is the sample console application I have created. If you are not familiar with namespace, class and this main, I would recommend you go to part 2 first. Just have an idea. There I have explained what these things all about. So for the simplicity perspective, let's delete this namespace because we are not using it. Okay, so we'll start with sbyte, right? As I mentioned, so to declare a variable, what you have to do is, first of all you have to give the type. Okay, so I want to declare a variable of type sbyte, then you have to give a variable name. So sbyte, let's say var. Okay, since you are a beginner, I will always recommend you don't use a, b, c, like that kind of variable. So what happens is, it will be very easy to type a and start writing your program, right? But just think of a scenario where you are actually working in a company and you have just created one variable a here, right? A here, a equal to something, right? And you have written almost 200 line of code here, and again you are trying to use the same variable. You will have to go up and see what that variable name is, because it is not subjective. It is not giving you idea what kind of variable you are declaring. So it's always best practice to give a meaningful name to a variable. Okay. Okay, so that's why instead of a we'll always give a meaningful name. So I am declaring a variable of type s byte, and since currently this is the meaningful name we are thinking of, because I want to showcase that this is my s byte variable, that's why I am giving the name as this. So I have given a value as 10. Okay, so what it will do is it will create a memory location which will have 1 byte, and it will store this 10 value in that memory. Okay, if you want to see whether it actually saves it correctly or not, what we can do is we'll simply try to print it. So to print it, as I explained in part 2, console dot write line, or write whatever you want to use, you can use it, s byte var. Okay, so this will print this s byte value into the console. Since we want to see the value, we have to give this so that it will not come out of the application. Okay, so just 3 line, try to run, press F5 button, or you can always press click on this start button. Here you can see 10 is stored here, right? So let me close this application, and as I mentioned, s byte range is -128 to 127. What if I'll try to give a value beyond the range 128, right? Since its maximum value it can accommodate is 127, you can see immediately it starts flagging an error here. That red squiggly line you are seeing, it's showing as that it's an error. If you want to see what is the actual error, either you just hover mouse over here, you will be able to see constant value 128 cannot be converted to s byte, or you simply run this, click on F5 button or just run start here. You will see there are some compilation error. You click on no, and in output window you can see the same error. Constant value 128 cannot be converted to s byte because it's out of the range. Similarly, if we will try to store a negative number, right? So negative number is 128, right? So range is -128 to 127. So the lowest value that it can accommodate is -128. So this is well within the range, so it will not flag any error, and if you will run it, you should be able to run and see the value, which is -128, right? So this is for s byte. Similarly, you can have a variable called short, int and long. So let's try with just int. If you want to declare a variable with int type, just type int, you give a proper name equals anything, right? If you want to print it, similarly just copy this, and this is my int. So you should be able to print this, right? Same logic applies here. So the maximum value that we can store within this variable, int variable, is this. Let's say I'm just copying as is, and I'm just incrementing it by 1, right? It will not take comma is for just understanding purpose. Okay, so you can see it will not allow, as in when you say 7, it will lies within the range and it will not flag any error. So you can see here all these values within the range, if you'll give, it will take that. So based on the amount of based on the range that you want to store into a particular variable, you can pick its type. Okay, and why it is important? So let's say if you are working on an application which is using lakhs tons of variables, right? And let's say if you are using 1 lakh variables, right? And for each variable you are using long type, so the amount of memory that it will take is 1 lakh into 8 byte. That means 8 lakh byte you will be consuming just to run your application, right? So you will end up in consuming lots of memory, even though if you are not utilizing it. So based on the range that you want to store a value into that variable, based on that you can pick its type. If you are sure that your value will never cross 127, you should use s byte. if you are sure that your value will never cross, will always lie between minus 32,768 to 32,767, you should always use sort. So in that way your application will consume lesser memory. Okay, so as I mentioned, like it can have negative values also. You can give the negative value and it will work there, right? So now come to unsigned integral. So unsigned integral, the only difference between signed and unsigned is range will always lies within the positive part. So for byte, so let me just create one byte variable and I'll just name it byte var, and as I mentioned, like its range will be 0 to 255. So if we'll store 255, it will happy to accept this, right? If you want to print it, sorry, you should be able to print it. Just click on F5, you'll be able to see 255 is getting printed here. What if you'll try to store a negative value in unsigned integer? You can see here it is giving you a red squiggly, that means it's an error. If you'll try to press F5, or if you try to compile, you will directly see there is a build error. If you'll click no, you should be able to see constant value cannot be converted to byte because it's a negative number, and for unsigned integral you cannot have a negative number. So this is the basic difference between signed and unsigned integral. When to use a signed integral, you have to use signed integral only when if you are sure that there will be a negative number that you have to store, okay, within. And if you want to store just a positive number, simply use unsigned integral. That is the first. Second one is within the signed integral, how you want to choose, like which type of variable you should declare. So that answer lies within the range, whether that variable, what could be the range of that particular variable. If the range lies between this minus 128 to 127, you should always opt for S byte. If range lies between this, you should always opt for this. The main motive behind this selection is to save the memory. Okay, you should not write a code so that it will consume all of your memory. Okay, so first of all, whenever you are writing a code, you first ask yourself what could be the boundary of that particular variable, right? Whether it will be positive number or negative number, what will be the range. So if it is just positive number, you should always use unsigned integral. If it will be positive or negative, you should use signed integral. Within that, next question will be, within that positive or negative number, what could be my range? Based on that range, you should use this. I hope this clarifies when to use signed integral, when to use unsigned integral. Within this, when you have to use S byte, sort, integer and longs. Please comment me if you are not able to understand, and if you have any doubt on this, I'll try to clarify those. Okay, so with this we are done with the integral range values. So the next type that comes is enum. Next type comes is character type. So let's see how to store a character. Okay, so if you want to store a character like A, B, C, whatever the printable character or any character that you are seeing in the keyboard, you want to store into a particular variable. To do that, what you have to do is simply type char. So char is your type, and variable name I am giving, let's say charvar, character variable, right? So character variable. Now how will store a particular character? You want to store A, simply type A. Will it work? No, it will not work. Each character will be defined within a single quote. Okay, so whatever the character you want to type or you want to store, it has to be in a single quote. Character will be defined with single quote. If you try to give in a double quote, it will no longer be a character. It will be treated as a string. Even though there is only one character, now it will be treated as a string. So just remember, to define a character value, it has to be a single character, it has to be in a single quote. Okay, so in with this you I am defining a character, I am defining a variable with name charvar whose type is char and the value that I am associating is a. Okay, simply to print this, nothing to be done, just have this and print this character here, and you should be able to see that a, right. So you can have any character, you can have any sign, you can have any number, you can have any special character, whatever the things you type in here will be stored into that particular character type variable, and you can see the same in here, right. So this you can see question mark here. So this is character type for you. Next one we have is floating point. So this is I would say most important. Many people get confused here. What is the difference between float, double and decimal? Before that, what is floating point? So you can see integral means it's a whole number, 1, 2, 3, 100, lakh, 10,000. These are whole number. Okay, floating point number is a number which is having dot within it. Okay, so as and when it's having a dot, it will come under category of floating point number, like 1.2, 1.3, 5.6, 10.10, 10.11, whatever it is, right. So if it is having a dot, that means it's a floating point number, correct. Now among this floating point number, we have 3 different types, which is float, double and decimal. Okay, so many of you must be having confusion, like what is the difference between this float, double and decimal, right. So when to use float, when to use double and when to use decimal. Okay, so you can simply understand that the only difference among these are the precision. Precision means the number of digits that you can have after dot, right. Understand this once again, the number of digits that you can have after dot is defined by precision. Okay, so now let me tell you the difference. Floating point will have float variable will have less precision compared to double. Double will have a less precision compared to decimal. That means a float type variable will consist of lesser number of digits after dot. Okay, similarly for double will have a lesser number of digits compared to decimal variable, but it will have more number of digit after dot if we compare to a float variable. Okay, things will be clearer if I'll give you an example. So let's jump to a Visual Studio and let's try to create some variable. Let me just delete all those so that it will not be confusing for you. Okay, so now let's create a float variable. So again same funda will be applicable here. You have to give type followed by a variable name, and any name you can give, equals to 1.2. let's say I want to store this, right. Now here you can see I am giving a floating point number, but still I am not able to save in float variable. Why? Because this 1.2, I know that this is a floating point number, right, but computer don't know, like, okay, this is floating point number, but which type it is, whether it is a float, because 1.2, as I mentioned, like 1.2 lies, can be considered as a float, can be considered as a double, can be considered as a decimal, right. To instruct the computer, like I want to use this 1.2 value as a float, what you have to do is give f. As and when you associate this f, now computer will take this as a float value, okay, as a floating point value, right. If you want to print this, same thing you have to do, console dot write line and just give float variable. Run it. You should be able to see 1.2, right? Okay. If you want to store a double value, okay, I want to store the same number. So again, if you do that, again your computer will not understand, so it's better to give D. By default it is double, so due to that compiler is not giving me any error. Okay, so it's better to give D to indicate that it's a double. Okay, now again you do the same thing. Let's try to print this. Right, so you have to simply type decimal variable, sorry, variable equal 1.2. if you'll simply say try to say 1.2, it is giving you error, because by default any floating point number will be treated as double, and you cannot directly store a double value into a decimal. To do that you need typecasting. So typecasting we will discuss in later part of our videos. So for now, to convert a value, to instruct the compiler that this is a decimal value, what you have to do give is m. Okay, so m instruct compiler that this is my decimal value. Okay, so if you want to print the same, just give this variable, just run it, and you should be able to see all the values. So you can see all values are getting printed, but again question remains the same. If we are able to save these values either in float, double or decimal, then what is the use of having three different type? Okay, so let me just take one example which will give you the clear picture why we need to do so. So what will, just let me write the code and then maybe we'll discuss how to, what is the difference basically. Okay, okay, so what I'm trying to do here is I'm taking number 1 which is a floating, I'm dividing it by 3. So what will be the result? 1 divided by 3 is 0.3333333. It will never end, right? So basically all of these will result in that same only, but what I am doing is I am storing the same value in float, in double and decimal, and then we'll see what is the difference coming here. If you run this, now you can see what is the difference. As I mentioned, like the float will have a less precision, means float will have less capacity to store the number of digit after dot. So you can see for this example, float is just giving you 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 threes. So after dot it is capable of storing only 7 digit after dot, right? But if you'll see this double value, it is having more number of threes. That means its precision is higher than compared to float values, but lower compared to decimal values. So the main idea with for this example is you should try to choose the variable wisely, whether you have to choose float, double or decimal. Because if let's say you are working in a bank, you are working in an application which is being used in a bank, right? And let's say you have lakhs of crores of customers, right? And you will start truncating these values, right? These values. So what will happen is crore into this 0.00000 and after this value, this many amount will not be dispersed to those customers, right? So they may complain you like I have done crores of transaction and after calculating I could see this many values are not there, this amount of money is not there. So basically you should choose, if you are working on a number specific application which is mainly used in bank or financial sector, you should be using decimal. If the number of precision you want more, then you should be using decimal. If it is in between, you should use double, and you are not really much bothered about the number of digit after dots, after a certain number of digits, then you can use float. Okay, so based on the precision that you want to achieve, you should take float, double or decimal. So this is the reason we have three different types of variable available in C# for storing a floating number. Okay, so the next is boolean. So boolean is the simplest one among this one. So as you know, like boolean is either it can be only two values, either true or false, right? So let me just delete it. To declare a boolean variable, just type bool, just a variable, any name you can give, boolean variable. You can store here as true, just print it, console dot write line bool, enter, print F5, and you should be able to see true here, right? Similarly you can store false as well. So boolean can have only two values, true and false, and you should be able to see false here. If you try to store any other variable, any number or something, it will not allow you to do so, right? It will simply give you error. If you try to run it, you will get an compilation error. So this is all about the simple type or integral type that we have within the value type. So in my next video session I'll try to cover this other remaining value types, which is enum, struct, nullable values and tuples. So please do subscribe my channel and click on the bell icon, so that whenever I post any video, you can direct get the notification of that videos. And your subscription basically encourage me to create more videos and to teach you well in different aspect of C#. So please subscribe and please click on the bell icons. So see you in the next part, which is part 4, where we'll be discussing values type like enum, struct, nullable and tuple. If you have any doubt, you can always comment me. I'll try to answer all your questions in the comment. Thanks for watching this video. Have a good day. Bye.